Give me 1 second, having some technical difficulties. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to story time. I don't like this setup I have here uh with this computer. But for some strange reason, YouTube would not let me go on live on my phone, which is weird because I didn't have any problems with it on Friday. But such is technology. Let's see who we have in the building. It's just kind of far away from it. The computer's kind of far away from me. All right, let's see. We have Coach Chef Shavit says hello. Hello, Coach Shavit. Cha-ching, cha-ching. You know what that means? I got a super chat. Someone cares about me. Cha-ching, cha-ching. You know what that means? I got a super chat. Someone cares about me. Thank you so much, Coachy, for that super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. We have, you know what? Let me see if I can bring this thing a little closer and still, because I think the phone uh, might miss somebody as this live moves up. I know I'm making y'all dizzy. I'm making me dizzy. Let me look from my laptop. Okay, let's see if it's in sync with this phone. Oh, okay, all right, that's good. We have Machi Gaming in the house. Machi says, "Hello, Deb. I'm new. I can't stay long. About to go live, and I'm at 2K, and my name is pronounced Machi." Well, Machi, we certainly appreciate you stopping through Storytime, and I'm excited for you for reaching your 2K. Congratulations! I saw you in Gigi's live, but I appreciate you stopping by. Congratulations again on your 2K. Margie says, and I have a website. Oh, okay, I'll have to check you out. Hello, Anthony Shaw. My brother's in the house. Says Gigi Raid. Thank you, sis, for the raid. I appreciate you for the raid, and I appreciate all of you for following Gigi over to Storytime. Hello, we have the hardest working man in YouTube in the house. He's actor slash basketball player slash full-time student slash part-time vlogger, Mr. Kane E. Moore in the house. How are you, Kane E. Moore? He says, hi, Deborah. We have Memory Lane Keepsake in the house. Says, hello, Deborah. How are you, Memory Lane? Welcome, welcome to Storytime. I'm not sure if you've been here before, but I certainly appreciate whether it's your first time or a second, third, or fourth time. I certainly appreciate you stopping into Storytime. We have our very own 50 plus in the building. How are you, brother? 50 plus says, hello, Deborah. I shared you out. Thank you, 50 plus. I appreciate you sharing me out. Thank you. Thank you so much. 50 plus is such a great supporter, you all. He was instrumental in in us in a little group that we have and reaching our milestone, and we certainly appreciate him. He's super supportive of everybody in these YouTube streets. Maji says, I am Kane's best friend and I am his roommate now. Okay, all right. Coach Chief Shavi says, I'm going to put you on the speaker as usual and won't be in the chat. Just letting you know I'm here and will be listening. I appreciate you, sis. Thank you so much for that. And thanks again for that wonderful super chat. 50 shouting out Coach Chief. Jumping. 50 shout out Coach Chief. We have our very own Pandy's Hair, Candy, and More in the building. Says Gigi Ray. Thank you, Pandy, for following Gigi in the raid over to Storytime. I appreciate you being here. 50 shouting out Anthony Shaw, Kane Moore, and he's shouting out Monchi. And go by and see Pandy if you want to get your wig fixed or find you a good wig. Go by and check out Pandy's Hair, Candy, and More. Coach Chief says, hey, 50 plus, seeing you on GI. Okay. We have Naruto is awesome in the house. How are you, Naruto? So glad to see you. Thanks for following the GG Ray. Naruto says, what's up? Yep, it's now me, Oliver Machi, living in the same house with Kane. Okay, so it's a family affair over there at Kane's place. 50 shouting out Pandy. Pandy shouting out me, Mods, and chat. And Pandy shouting out 50 plus. Kane Moore says, I got to run to Machi. I got to run. Machi needs me. Okay, but I appreciate you being here, Kane, in the midst of all your running around. We have Chef BC Cherry Bliss BSC in the house, says Gigi Raid. Thank you again, Chef, for following Gigi's raid. I appreciate you. I know this is not your first time here, but I appreciate you joining us tonight in story time. Hey, Gigi sis. Gigi says, welcome to story time, everyone. And Kobe Shavit, thank you for the super chat. We have the YT cheerleader. Whoop, whoop, whoop. The YT cheerleader. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I don't know. I think my son moved my pom-poms, but I got to find them pom-poms. How are you, Bernice? Junk closets in the house. Says there, congrats. Thank you, Bernice. Oh, look at this quickly. Let me turn that down. Hopefully, won't hear. Someone's at my door. Hang on one second. It's probably my son who didn't take his key. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. Someone's at my door and it wasn't my son. Let's see, where was I? Gigi. Pandy saying hello to Gigi. Gigi shouting out Bernice and says AKA YT cheerleader. Gigi says hello to sis Chef BC Cherry Bliss. We have Memory Lane Keepsake in the building. How are you, sis? I appreciate you following the GG raid over here to story time. I appreciate you. She says, hey, hello, everyone. Gigi shouting out Kane Moore and Naruto. Pandy shouting out Memory Lane Keepsake. Memories. Gigi said, hello to Memory Lane Keepsake. Welcome to story time. Memory Lane Keepsake says, this is my second time. Okay, happy to be here. Well, we're happy to have you here, Memory Keepsake. Gigi shouting out, saying, hey, 50 plus, the super supporter. And she's shouting out Pandy, Hair, Candy, and More. Vernon shouting out Gigi. Pandy says, thanks, Deborah. You're quite welcome, Pandy. We have Leticia Lewis in the building. How are you, sis? I appreciate you coming back to join me for story time. And Leticia says, hello, Gigi. Hello, Deborah. And I don't know if I jumped the stream. Let me kind of look at. And Gigi shouting out Leticia. Let me go back because when I got up, I lost where I was. Oh, yes, I missed a lot of people. Okay, let's see. Okay, Gigi. We have our very own Carolyn Eats All in the building. How are you, sis? I appreciate you joining me for story time. Karen is another great supporter. Get over there and check her out. She's all over those YouTube streets. I wonder if she sleeps sometimes. Thank you for coming by, sis. So Chief saying hi to Gigi. Carolyn shouting out Bernice. So Chief said, Gigi, okay, gonna go back to lurking mode. Pandy shouting out Bernice. Carolyn East All is shouting out Gigi and Pandy. And Pandy shouting out Carolyn East All. And hopefully I did not miss anybody in the stream. If I did, don't charge it to my heart. And I will go ahead and get started with our store. Oh, okay. Cha-ching, cha-ching. You know what that means. I got a super chat. Someone cares about me. Cha-ching, cha-ching. You know what that means. I got a super chat. Someone cares about me. Hello, hello. 50, over 50 and fantabulous. I appreciate you, sis. I appreciate you joining us for story time. And I certainly appreciate that super chat. How are you? I know this is not your first time in story time, and I appreciate you for coming by. We have our very own dancing diva, Miss Full Roller, in the house, dancing her way in with the red dress. How are you, Miss Full Roller? Miss Full Roller says, hi, Deborah, Mars, and Chad. Hey, y'all. Back to the bushes. I listened, and congratulations, sis. Thank you, and congratulations again to you as well. 50 shouting out Miss Full Roller. And over 50 and fantabulous says many blessings to you, sister. Thank you, sis. Same to you. And Pandy shouting out Miss Full Roller. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with our story. Carolyn shouting out 50, and Gigi says hello to 50, over 50 and fantabulous. I'm going to go ahead and get started with our story from the book. We're back on the book reading. And oh, before I do that, let's see. No, I can't do it with this. I'll have to do it another time. I forgot to share all of the wonderful people in the story, and I can't do it now because I'm filming from my laptop. So I'll have to do it at the next story time. Because I was so excited about my celebration and so excited about the story. I forgot to give you all the characters in the story, and it was a lot of characters in that story. Okay, so we left off on chapter 24, which is called A Change of Heart. And that was where my husband, remember, he had left, and then he decided he wanted to find his way back home. And I didn't let him come back because I felt his intentions weren't good, and it was just that he was just going to come back to further sabotage my life. So I didn't let him come back. He wanted to move in immediately, and I wouldn't let him because I did let him move back in according to the marriage counselor's instructions before, and he couldn't get his mind right. So I didn't let him move back in. We talked and stuff, but I didn't. Okay, so I left off on that chapter, Change of Heart. So I'm going to finish the ending of that chapter and then move on to the next chapter, which is called Crazy and Deranged. So, of course, I was reluctant to let him move back in because of everything that had transpired. And he apparently his motive was to just destroy me. He destroyed the house and all that kind of stuff. But he didn't, because he have to realize that he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty God. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. So my husband really didn't realize the magnitude of my faith in what God could do and even turn an ugly situation around in my favor. And I know a lot of people, Be the Difference, Gigi, Vernon, and you, Pandy, you guys want riding hard with me and y'all want to go do a drive-by and stuff. And I said, but we're going to drive by on him with prayer and in love. Because we have to remember what the word of God says. I had to love him in spite of. I'm also mindful that he said in his word, if the world hates you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. And this is God speaking to us as believers, even when we go through these types of situations. But I say unto you which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. So continue ye in love. So we have to continue in love. In spite of how people misuse us and mistreat us, we have to continue in love. And during my whole process and all these ordeals, I still chose not to hate these individuals because God said we should continue in love. He says, bless them that curse you and pray for them which despitefully use you. Why? And a lot of times we ask that question, why should we, still love those people that hate us or mistreat us, misuse us? He says, for if you love only them which love you, what thanks have ye? He says, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. So I try to keep that stuff in the forefront so that I don't let my bitterness and anger towards people who have mistreated me live inside of me and fester like a sore, because that could ultimately destroy you. And oftentimes we do. We say we love God, but then we hate people and stuff like that. But he says, if a man says, I love God, and has his brother, he is hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he has seen, how can he love God whom he has not seen? And this commandment have we from him, that he who love God love his brother also. Didn't you know, if God so loved us, we ought also to love one another? No man has seen God at any time, yet you confess that you love him, but can't love one another. If you love one another, God dwelleth in us, and his love is perfected in us. So the next chapter is crazy and deranged. So you remember early on in the chapters, remember my husband was doing all kind of craziness. He raised his hand to me one time, sending me to the ER. Just couldn't figure out what his role was as a husband, as a father. And so now, because I'm not letting him back in like I did when the marriage counselor told me, I guess he went into a panic, realizing that that I was really, really done and fed up. So he started just losing it even the more. And also remember, at the same time that I'm going through this separation, I lost my job. So here I am, I got a lot of stress on me right now. Prior to being laid off, my husband and I started a courtship, at least what he considered to be one. It lasted about 7 months. He thought paying a few bills was all he needed to do to get back in. The entire time we hung out, I wasn't at peace with the whole reconciliation idea. The dream I had about him had me troubled. I felt in my spirit that his intentions for reuniting weren't genuine. A lot transpired within those 8 months of courtship. First, there was the thing with my job, and then he started acting like a crazy, jealous lunatic. Since I wouldn't give him a key to the house or let him move back in, he was hiding out in the park behind my house and doing drive-bys. When he walked out on me, I had prepared the divorce papers, but they just sat in the cabinet at work, waiting for me to make a move. Each time I pulled them out to file, there was an unsettling feeling in my spirit. But one day, in the midst of my talk with the housekeeper, I felt led to file. It wasn't until that very moment that I felt an urgency to go file. When I got there, I was told to have a seat to wait for an appointment. While waiting, I began to reflect on some of the things my girlfriend said about the long wait, along with the thought of how to make known the news to my husband that I filed for a divorce. I got a little discouraged at first, sitting for almost an hour just for an appointment. I had almost convinced myself to get up and walk out when I heard a still voice say, "Be still and know that I am God." I continued my wait patiently. Eventually, my name was called and I was given an appointment for the following week. The process wasn't much of a hassle at all, and at my appointment, the divorce papers were filed. From the moment I left the courthouse, I still hadn't found words to tell my husband I'd filed for a divorce. Surprisingly, I didn't have to. The evening I filed, he lost control of his temper again. That night, I decided to join a group of individuals from work for a birthday dinner. My husband phoned earlier requesting to come over, but I told him I was headed out with my coworkers and that I'd phone him later. Apparently, he didn't believe me because he showed up at my place anyways. Just as I stepped into the shower, I heard a knock at the door. Thinking it was one of my son's friends, I didn't bother to get dressed before heading towards the front door. My intention was to yell through the door, "My son's not at home." But midway there, the light illuminating outside showed a large shadow, which certainly wasn't that of a small child. Knowing that it was probably my husband, thinking he could change my mind about going out, and unaware that he saw me through a small crack in the glass covering, I quickly backed away from the door and then headed back to the shower. By the time I reached the bathroom, he was knocking at the window. As I headed to retrieve something from my son's bedroom, he was knocking at that window. It surprised me that he knew my every move, and I wondered why he came over, knowing that I was headed out. Why didn't he just wait for a call when I got back? Did he really believe coming over would change my mind, or did he think someone was there with me? Annoyed by his presence, I got dressed and took a seat in the living room. I sat quietly, waiting to see just how long he'd continue making a spectacle of himself. He kept banging around the house while I sat there in awe, wondering he'd seen whether or not he'd been seen by the neighbors. When the banging stopped, I thought he decided to give up and leave. Suddenly, there was a loud noise. Like the SWAT team in a hostage situation, he kicked my front door in. I sat in amazement as I watched him scurrying through the house like a madman ready to attack his victim. Hold on, got to get me a drink, wet my whistle. out loud, I said, I know he didn't just kick my door in. Yes, he had, and I wasn't happy about it. What on earth had gotten into him? Did he think I had a man inside? Was his mind playing tricks with him to that degree? Why would I agree to hang out with him if I wanted to be involved with someone else? It would have been easier to leave things the way they were. Had any of that ever crossed his mind? So many thoughts raced through my head, but I knew this time I was done. I was disturbed by the whole ordeal. So I asked him to leave and never come back. He refused to leave while trying to justify the madness. There was nothing he could say or do to make me change my mind. He followed closely behind as I went out back to my storage area to gather some tools he'd left behind. I asked him to get his stuff and leave. He refused, so I decided to gather it up for him. As I reached for the tools with a stern tone and a look of fury he dared me to touch his things. Recognizing the signs of him losing control and knowing from past experiences not to let my guard down, I backed away slowly and hurried back inside as close to the front door as possible. This time I had the phone in my hand in case I needed to dial 911. While trying to convince me to let him stay, the phone rang, interrupting his thoughts. It was well beyond the time we all agreed to meet, so one of my coworkers called to see where I was. I briefly explained the situation and then ended the call. Since the call was brief, he made accusations that it was the man I was headed out to meet. To calm him down, I redialed the number for him to speak with her. She verified that I was scheduled to meet with the gang from work for a birthday celebration and then told him she didn't want to be involved in any problems. He passed the phone back to me and I told her hopefully I'd be joining them soon. When I hung up the phone, he started yelling that I better stop playing with him, insisting there was a man involved and that she was just covering for me. He clearly lost control. I hurried out the front door with the phone still in my hand. He urged me to come back inside, but I wasn't taking any chances. I hadn't forgotten what happened the last time he had me cornered. At least an hour had passed since my friends last heard from me. So out of concern, she phoned again to see whether or not I resolved the problem with my husband. They'd already finished dinner and were headed to a nearby nightclub. By then, it was pretty late and I wasn't in the mood to join them anymore. When I told her things hadn't been resolved, unexpectedly, he charged and rustled me down onto the top of the car, forcefully snatching the phone from my hand. He released me, then tried to recover the call. By then, one of the neighbors who saw him kick the door in earlier had already called the police. Why she hadn't called them sooner was beyond me. I guess she wasn't taking any more chances after seeing him wrestle me down. After not being able to retrieve the call, he was really uneasy and started talking craziness and ordering me back inside. That's when the police arrived. They asked if everything was okay as they approached us standing in the walkway. I told them it wasn't and shared how he kicked my door in when I didn't answer. I also told them he refused to leave. Sir, do you live here? The police asked. Yes. So if you live here, why did you kick in your own door? I couldn't get inside because I loaned my stepson my house key. When I arrived at home, I knocked, but she wouldn't answer. I knew she was inside because I saw her through a small crack in the front door. She was walking from room to room. but wouldn't answer. I didn't know what was going on or what to think. I thought she was in some sort of danger. So out of concern for her safety, I kicked the door in. The officer then asked me to explain what happened, but each time I tried to speak, he'd butt in. Annoyed by his constant interruptions, they told him to be quiet. Now we all stood quietly and listened to your side of the story, the officer said, which probably didn't even make a lot of sense to you. Shut up and let her finish. I finished talking uninterrupted, and then they requested to see his driver's license to determine if he really lived there. They established that he didn't and asked him to leave, yet he insisted on staying. I upheld that he lived with his mother, so they asked me to contact her by phone. I called, explained the situation, and told her an officer wished to speak with her. Instead of complying, she gave me attitude, told me never to call her house again, and hung up the phone. The officer told me to redial the number for them to speak with her, but she wouldn't answer. They told him that his license had been suspended, yet they permit him to leave. Once again, he refused, so they gave him an ultimatum. Either he'd leave on his own or with them in handcuffs. They assured him if he left with them, he'd be facing charges like disturbing the peace and burglary. He says, give me all of that because I'm not leaving. Amazed at his lack of concern about going to jail, the officer asked, did you hear what I said? Before he could respond, she continued, let me repeat myself because obviously you didn't understand me the first time. She reiterated the consequences of him staying, but he repeated himself. Give me all of that because I'm not leaving. Still shocked at his response, the officer asked, whom are you employed by? Once he answered, she explained how being arrested could possibly jeopardize his job, but that didn't seem to faze him. He stood silently as if waiting for the next command. Done with talking, the officer instructed him to empty his pockets and to place his hands behind his back. She read him his Miranda rights, and he complied without resistance. While being cuffed, he mumbled verbal threats towards me. That's when I mentioned I'd be filing for divorce. The officer interjected by suggesting I file for a restraining order as well, since he didn't seem rational. The very next morning, I went to the courthouse and filed. They asked me a series of questions to determine if it was necessary to issue an injunction. After reviewing my statements, the judge concluded there was. Past incidents revealed he displayed a history of violent behavior, which suggested he needed anger management. The judge granted me a temporary restraining order and scheduled a court date for us both to appear. The clerk explained the conditions of the order and then I left. The order prohibited him from contacting me in any manner, but despite the order, he wouldn't stay away. He continued to drive by and phoned me from various payphones in the area at night. The call started about 11 at night and continued until about 1 or 2 the next morning. He'd also hide out in the park behind my house. Perhaps those were tactics he used to keep potential male visitors at bay. He didn't bother to show up for the hearing, so the judge checked the file to see if he signed the acknowledgement for the restraining order. He had, so based on the facts of the case, coupled with him stalking me, she issued a permanent injunction against him. He later filed a motion for a rehearing and to withdraw the injunction. His motion was granted for the judge. His motion was granted, but the judge couldn't figure out why it was even placed in her on her calendar. She said it must have slipped through the cracks because she never would have granted it. Since the motion made the docket, she decided to entertain his plea. She read the report and then asked his purpose for requesting the rehearing. He told her he understood the reasoning behind her granting the injunction, but couldn't comprehend why it was permanent. The judge read aloud different incidents of violent conduct that took place over a 10-year period and told him he had anger management issues. Any more questions? Yes, you may proceed. I don't understand why the restraining order has to be permanent. Is it true that you recently went to her home banging around the house and kicked her door in? Also, when asked by officers to leave, you refused and had to be escorted off in handcuffs. Prior to that, did you hit her, sending her to the hospital where she received 9 stitches? No? Okay, explain your side. I wasn't banging around the house. I was knocking. He never addressed the hospital incident, kicking in the door, or being taken away in cuffs. Everyone in the courtroom sat quietly, waiting for him to continue, but he didn't say another word. The judge revisited her question. Why did you go to her house when she asked you not to? Didn't she tell you she was going out? Yes, but I needed to pick up my electrical tape. You went to her house and started all that commotion over some 69 or so cents tape that you could have easily stopped by a hardware store to buy. He sat silently, as if she never said a word. Angrily, she repeated herself. Is it true that you recently went to her house, kicked in the door, refused to leave when asked, and had to be taken away in handcuffs? Yes or no? Yes. And prior to that, did you or did you not hit her, sending her to the hospital where she received 9 stitches? Yes. I guess. Well, I don't know. Everything happened so fast, I couldn't remember it all. But she did have to get stitches. She asked one final time, do you have any more questions? Yes. I just don't understand why it has to be permanent. Each time the judge questioned him as he answered, everyone in the courtroom glanced over at me as if to say, you poor dear. They must have been thinking, how on earth did she get herself involved with this psycho? The judge tried very hard to maintain her decorum and must have been thinking, what an idiot. Consequently, she responded to him by again reading aloud the incidents that suggest he had a problem, and then responded, the fact that you have displayed violent behavior over a number of years and presently suggests you have some anger management issues. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but from my understanding, the minor child in the marriage is not your son. Is that correct? He assured her she was on point. We don't need to address any child support or visitation issues. So why do you feel the need to continue communicating with Miss Christian? He didn't respond. She ended by informing him of the consequences of violating the injunction and then asked if he had any questions regarding anything else she had said. Like a broken record, he just repeated himself. I need to know why it has to be permanent. The judge was furious as she addressed me. Miss Christian, when you two were together, was you aware if he used any type of illegal substance or alcohol? No, Your Honor, I'm not. Once again, she reiterated the rules governing the order and the fines and jail time that would be imposed each time he got caught in violation. She declared that the order would remain in effect and ordered him to attend anger management classes with drug and alcohol screening as a part of the conditions. She released me from the courthouse and requested that he remain. Once dismissed, I went to the nearest restroom and remained there until I figured he was long gone. After that circus act, I didn't know what to think or expect from him. Was it all an act, or was he setting the stage in case he intended on hurting me in the future? Was he trying to build up an insanity plea case? I didn't know, but I wasn't taking any chances. I lost a sister already, and once locked up, that guy actually tried to request an insanity plea. We see people every day walking around talking to themselves, not even knowing what day of the week it is, and causing harm to themselves. If we're not careful and strong enough to handle adversity, Satan could consume our minds the same way. Nonetheless, despite the judge's warnings, the stalking continued. When I walk my dogs at 6 in the morning, I see him parked in front of the neighbor's house, watching mine. He was never in the same car, and once discovered, he'd drive away hurriedly. That's when I realized restraining orders are only as good as the response time of those enforcing them. It's not a good feeling knowing that someone could be lurking outside your home, watching your every move without you ever knowing it. I'm going to go ahead and stop the story right there. The next chapter we'll pick up on is called The Final Dagger. I hope that you all have been enjoying the book reading. Let's see who's walked into the building while I was engaged in the story, because I don't want to miss anybody. 50 shout out Miss Full Roller, over 50, and Fantabulous says many blessings to you, sister. And thank you again, sis, for that super chat. Patty shouting out Miss Full Roller, Carolyn East All saying hello to 50 plus. Gigi shouting out over 50 and Fantabulous. Over 50 and Fantabulous is throwing out some love. Carolyn East All says hello, Miss Full Roller. 50 plus says Carolyn East All hello. Gigi says hello to Miss Full Roller, the dancing diva. While I'm going through these, do we have any birthdays in the house? If so, throw it in the chat, because we do want to celebrate you story time style. Gigi saying hello, Miss Full Roller, dancing diva. Panty shouting out over 50 and Fantabulous. We have Denise say what's on my mind. Mackie in the house says hello, host and chat. Good evening. How are you, sis? Thank you so much for joining us in story time, following that Gigi's raid over here. I appreciate you. Pandy shouting out Denise. Denise says amen. Gigi shouting out Denise and says welcome to story time. Pandy shouting out Mr. Random. Hello, Mr. Random. How are you? Welcome to Storytime. So good to see you. Gigi says hello to Mr. Random. Welcome to Storytime. We have Healthy Living with Miss Renee the Barber in the house. How are you, sis? So glad that you could join me for Storytime. I hope you walked in time to get the beginning of the story. She says hello to everyone and says thumbs up the host. Thank you for that reminder. Healthy Living with Miss Renee. Gigi says welcome to Story Time to Miss Healthy Living with Renee the Barber. We have our very own Be the Difference clothing in the house today. How are you, sis? Be the Difference says, hey, Deborah's Glad Tidings. She's shouting out Gigi and Healthy Living with Miss Renee the Barber and Pandy. Gigi says hello to Be the Difference. Welcome to Storytime. Pandy shouting out Healthy Living with Miss Renee the Barber and Be the Difference. Joy. We have Julie Issy in the house today. Julie says hello, everyone. Greetings to you, host. How are you, sis? So glad you could join us again for Storytime. I appreciate it. How are you? Pandy shouting out Julie. Julie says, here with my thumbs up. I appreciate that, sis. Gigi shouting out Julie. Julie says, greetings to Pandy. We have Eating with Miss P in the house. How are you, sis? I appreciate you joining us for story time. How are you? And following that Gigi raid over. Miss Eating with Miss P says hello to everyone. Judy says greetings to Be the Difference, sis. I see you. Be the Difference shouting out Eating with Miss P. Gigi says welcome Eating with Miss P. Eating with Miss P says hey to Be the Difference Clothing and Gigi. Julie says greetings to Gigi's Laboratory. Thanks for the warm welcome. Kane E. Moore, the hardest working man in YouTube, says I'm back. We have Mr. Arthur Martin in the house. He says, love you, sister. Love y'all, family. My birthday was Friday. And yes, Mr. Arthur, we sung happy birthday to you, Storytime style. We started with the Marilyn Monroe, worked our way through Stevie Wonder, and ended out with 2 live crew. So I don't know. We asked for you. You probably stepped away, so you'll have to catch it on the replay. But we appreciate having you back here in Storytime. Be the Difference Clothing says, Lord. Gigi says, thanks to Kane Moore. Julie Issy says, Gigi sis, I'm still trying to catch up with your live stream. We have Max and Ashton Epic Adventures in the house. Says today is Max's birthday. Okay, so we got a birthday in the house today. So Max, if you hang tight, we will celebrate you Storytime style. I think this might be Max's first time here, but we certainly welcome you. Gigi shouting out Arthur Martin and says, welcome to Storytime. Happy belated birthday. Carolyn East All is shouting out Be the Difference Clothing. Kane E. Moore says, I got to stay up till 3 a.m. And Machi stream from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. And he stay up till 6 a.m. Oh, wow. Well, you can do that when you're young, Kane. I only do that because I sleep all day. So my clock is off. So I sleep all day and get up somewhere around 6:37 in the evening, and then I'm up all night. Julie Izzy says, hey, Kane Moore, greetings, welcome back. Gigi says, welcome to Storytime to Max A. Austin Epic Adventure. Be the Difference shouting out Carolyn East All. Kane E. Moore says, happy birthday to Max from Max and Ashton. Mr. Arthur Martin says, love y'all. We love you too, Mr. Martin. Penny says, great story. Oh, the screen jumped a little bit. Penny says, great story time tonight. Deborah, have to head out. Now have a good night, everyone. Thank you, Penny. We appreciate you. Memory Lane Keep says, great story. Julie Issy says, I'm good, says Deborah. I'm feeling good. Been here. Great. Yeah, I'm having a good night too. And for those of you who are here for the first time for the book reading, if you go back on my page, you'll see we started from chapter 1 and worked our way all the way up to chapter 25. So you can pick up what you left off on. This is my book. For those of you who don't know, is called My Struggle in Broken Pieces, A Healing for My Soul. It's available at Amazon.com. But I have some on me on sale. And if you hit me up on IG, I'll sell it to you for $25. And you'll only have to send 20 because Miss E. Johnson Woodson said the first 5 people that request a book, she'll pay $5 for them. And all you'll have to do is pay 20. So hit me up on IG at Deb's Glad_Tidings. And you can find my Cash App information in the description and just shoot me $20 Miss E. Johnson Wilson will add the 5, and I'll get the book out to you. Memory Lane says, great story. Julie Izzy says, that's good. I feel okay. We have the Miss Yo-Yo show in the building again. How are you, Miss Yo-Yo? She says, hello, Deborah's sGladTidings. Hello, host. I'm fine, Miss Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo, I appreciate you following that Gigi raid over. Appreciate having you here in story time. Gigi says, have a good night to Pandy. The Miss Yo-Yo show, shouting out Julie Izzy, Be the Difference Clothing, and Pandy. And Gigi Kane Moore says he works on merch and he works at 6 a.m. Okay. Wow. He's got a lot of energy. Gigi says, welcome to story time to Miss Yo-Yo, beautiful queen. Pandy says, the Miss Yo-Yo show, thank you so much. I'm headed to bed. And Eating with Miss P says hello to the Miss Yo-Yo show. Kane Moore says Machi contest next Friday. Oh, okay. Julie Issy says, big sis, Miss Yo-Yo show, greetings. I see you, big sis. Kane says, apply on Marchie website. Miss Yo-Yo says, hi to Eating with Miss P. Hello, love. Kane E. Moore says, Marchie hoodies at $34. Phone case, $15. Okay, so Marchie looked like he got a lot of merchandise he's trying to sell. Okay, we'll have to check him out. Carolyn East All says hello to Miss Yo-Yo. We have Let's Chill ASMR back with us. How are you, Let's Chill? So glad you can join us tonight. Says hello, host, and hello, everyone. Be the difference. Shouting out Miss Yo-Yo. Say I need to talk to you. Kane Moore says Marchie sweats. Be the different clothing says hi to Let's Chill ASMR, and Gigi shouting out Let's Chill ASMR. So we are going to celebrate, and Let's Chill ASMR is shouting out Be the Difference clothing. So we are going to celebrate. What's his name? Got to get the name right. Max and Ashton, Epic Adventures. We're going to celebrate you story time style, Max. So I'm a little tired tonight and my voice is a little rough. So we're just going to celebrate you with the 2 live crew version of birthday song. So those of you who are in story time, you know how we celebrate each other's story time style. We are still celebrating Leo season, so we are celebrating Mr. Max in this Leo season. So when I say, what's that number 1 zodiac sign? Or what's that number 1? When I say, what's that number 1 zodiac sign? However it comes out, you all gonna throw Leo in the stream. When I say, if I call any birthday zodiac other than Leo, you're gonna throw no in the stream. And when I get in the stream and I say Leo working that thing out or Max working that thing out, you're gonna throw working that thing out in the stream. All right. We have DMV Dining Diva in the house. How are you, sis? So glad that you could join us. She says, hey, Miss Deborah. If there's anybody else in the stream that I missed, can you throw something in the stream so I'll know you're here? I don't want to overlook anybody because I appreciate each and every one of you coming to join me for story time. So if there's someone in the stream that I missed, can you throw something in the stream so I can see it? Let's Chill says, A to DMV Dining Diva. All right, here we go. We're going to celebrate Mr. Max. Machi says, I'm still live. I can't celebrate. That's okay. We know you're with us, Machi, and we appreciate it. All right, here we go. I said, what's that number one zodiac sign? Leo. I said, what's that number one zodiac sign? Leo. What's going on? Y'all not celebrating the Leo season? I don't see any Leos in the stream. When I say what's that number one or favorite zodiac sign, you're supposed to throw Leo in the stream. If I call anything other than that, you throw no in the stream. And if I say working that thing out, you throw that in the stream. All right, there we go. I see it. Carolyn's throwing it in there. Let's Chill is dancing already. And the DMV Divas dancing. Miss Pro Roller says Leo. Carol. All right. What's that number one zodiac sign? Leo. I said, what's that number one zodiac sign? Leo. Is it Capricorn? No. Is it Cancer? No. Is it Aries? No. Is it Pisces? No. What's that number one zodiac sign? Leo. I said, what's that number one zodiac sign? Leo. Is it Aries? No. Is it Taurus? No. Is it Leo? Yes. Is it Cancer? No. Go Leo. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. Get busy. Go Leo. It's your birthday. Leo, working that thing out. Leo, working that thing out. Max, working that thing out. Max, working that thing out. Leo, working that thing out. Go Max, it's your birthday. Go Max, it's your birthday. Get busy, it's your birthday. Get busy, it's your birthday. Yay! Happy birthday, Max. Oh, look at that. I love it. All that group participation. Carolyn's dancing, the dancing diva, Miss Furroll is dancing. When I called out anything other than Leo, everybody said no, even though everybody feels their zodiac is the best. But we realize we are celebrating Leos in this Leo season. Look at that. Carolyn East All says, working that thing out. Let's Chill ASMR is clapping. The dancing diva says, Leo working that thing out, and she's dancing. DMB Dining Diva says happy birthday. She's throwing birthday cakes and a present in the stream. Gio's throwing ice. Gigi's throwing ice cream in the stream. They're throwing Leo in the stream. Ah, look at that. I appreciate you all for celebrating the Leos in the Leo season. That's how we celebrate birthdays here in Storytime style. And I appreciate each and every one of you for celebrating Max on tonight in this Leo season. I am at this time going to go ahead and sign out. Always remember, may his peace be with you until we meet again. I appreciate and love each and every one of you for joining me for Storytime. Storytime is every Monday, Wednesday, Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We're just about finished with our book reading. We're about wrapping it up. I think it's like one more chapter. And we're still going to be doing my Storytime shout outs because that's my way of putting you all in the forefront. So I will always be doing my little story time shout outs featuring you all as the characters. Always remember, I have a will to live, and I will see you all at the next story time. Good night.